All right, hello again. So, this is, as you can see on the screen right here, we have a very overused topic, and I'm probably behind on the curve, right? I would like to talk about The Last of Us 2, Part 2, as they would like to say. I hope there is not a Part 3, based upon what they gave us with this game, 7 years of waiting. So I'm gonna make a review of the game. However, I think you should take my review with, I guess, some sort of probably some criticism of it, since I personally have not played the game. However, I believe I have enough knowledge about the game's story, which is really what I'm looking at to really talk about it, because I've watched multiple game playthroughs. Right? I've watched like two or three of them from different people, all playing it. And on top of that, I believe that because this is such a story-driven game, you should be able to experience the story without actually having to play it, as long as you've watched someone play it and you can judge it. It's like a movie, basically, right? You've watched it, you can probably judge it, and I'm pretty much sure I can judge this game for what it is. Um, right? I'm not. I'm gonna be honest here. I ain't gonna spend $60 on a game when I can look it up on YouTube. All right. The same with the first Last of Us, which is I really love that game, and even though I never got to play it, I watched so many game playthroughs of it. It was amazing, amazing. But I watched it, right? It was a game playthrough that I watched, right? Similar to that, that was Resident Evil 7. This Last of Us Part 2, which I was very excited for, then kind of very disappointed. And then, as well as with The Walking Dead playthroughs, stuff like that, right? I've watched all of these games, every game that's ever come out, probably as a game playthrough, and I've usually watched one or two different game playthroughs that are being played by different people, so I can get fresh perspectives. Now, with The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us in general, it is a story driven game. So the story is not good because it is very linear. You are taken down the path, and this is a story that they want to show you. You don't get to make any decisions. And even decision games, the story has to be damn good for every decision, or else it falls flat. This game is just this game takes whatever happened in Last of Us 2, took a gun to it and just said, fuck you, pa pa pa, and just shot it down. It killed the obvious character, Joel. All right, we're gonna be real spoiler here, right? Spoiler warning. I'm don't care. Just we have to, because in order to understand my biggest gripes with the game. So I thought, what, the art was great, the music was great, the the mechanics I thought was like based on what I saw people playing and how they're playing. I thought it was good because I do have a PlayStation, so I do play games, and I thought the mechanics was very interesting because I have played the Uncharted 4 series, which was also by Naughty Dog. So I was expecting good mechanical mechanics in the game, and they did well. But the story, Lord have mercy, all right. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, but they took whatever was in Last of Us, said screw the story, and just went to Last of Us Part 2 and said, here you go. Right? It's like first main issue, Joel's death. All right. This is like it's very overrated, but I think you need to say it again. The fact is, how he died was the most dumbest thing ever. It doesn't make sense in his character. If you have established a character, you do not kill off the character in the way they do, right? Joel's character is very obviously very smart guy, very paranoid guy. He would never go into a room of 8 people, invite them back to his town, tell them their names. Hey, yo, I'm Joel, and this is my brother Tommy. I trust you guys a lot. I'm gonna stand in this room of 8 people alone, and I'm gonna tell you my names. Come back to my town and invite you in, or I'm gonna go into this house full of strangers I've never met. That's something that you don't see with his character. He never did that. Like, what type of dumbass does that? Even I'm not dumb enough to give out my own name and invite someone back to the town, right? It's like I'm a pretty stupid person, but I'm not that stupid, right? And he's much smarter than me. I could tell you that if I have an IQ of like what, if I have an IQ of like fucking 90, which is probably what my IQ is, his IQ is like 189, 89. Sorry, 189 to about 190 here. All right, that's like the difference in the amount of intelligence that he has when he comes to these situations. He taught Ellie all of this. Now we talk about Ellie. I don't know what the hell they did with Ellie, but they just took all the character development that she had and just said, screw it. Ah, nah, we're never gonna forgive Joel, even though, like it was just like this whole angsty an edginess about this, and I use edginess, like I like edge. Okay, I like that the sharp edge of a blade. All right, I like the edge. All right, but it's like edge for the edge's sake. It's just like that's what this story was, right? Then you had Abby. I don't need to say anything about Abby, but it was like Ellie's story. Let's finish with Ellie's story. Ellie's story. Just gotta get a little worked up here because I was like I'm a little pissed here, right? Waiting 7 years, I thought I was gonna buy the game. Not anymore. Hell no, I ain't spending $60 on this game. But Ellie's story is just such a it was meant to be like, he has his father figure and he can talk it out and he can do all this stuff. Now, when she does learn about her, with the Firefly thing, right? Okay, yeah, you could be angry about it, but she doesn't seem to understand it or whatever. And she just destroys the relationship and never gets any chance to really try to fix it in any way. It's just like, yeah, nah, boy. And then you have Abby and you try to make her like this some sort of sympathetic character, but you don't. I don't think it works in terms of this story, right? If your purpose as the author is to create something, and the purpose of the character is for this purpose, but it's lost to most of the audience, then you've done a terrible job of writing, right? If you're trying to write a character who is supposed to be this sympathetic character, but instead they come off as a real, I'm sorry, excuse my word, I'm gonna call them a female dog, a bitch, right? A hoe, right? You don't you've basically just you haven't done any justice, and your story isn't very well made at that point because your intent was there, but the audience sees it as totally something different, right? If it was just maybe 1% of the audience saying, "Oh no, she's god awful, I hate her," right? Well, then that's different, and that's just probably audience bias there at that point. But if you have a majority, a very large percentage, this is a huge majority. This is why the Metacritic score of this game is so low right now. I'm not Metacritic. I mean the user score of this game is so low right now. It's partially due to Abby's storytelling. Then that tells you that is the author's problem there, that they didn't write the character well enough. They didn't write it well enough in terms of the story, right? Now, now, to what this game is honestly best way for me to describe this game is like if you had an edgy fan fiction, right? Let's just say you had an edgy fan fiction artist. You gave them free reins of the story. They've looked at the Last of Us story, and then you say, "Hey, write whatever the hell you want." That's what this story is. It's just some edge fest of like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do all this and we're gonna do all this." It's like I wouldn't even call it a trashy dumpster fire, right? You know, I'll tell you why I won't call it that, but let's start with this. It's the story is bad. It's just bad overall. Like you have Ellie, right? She at some point becomes like I forgot the damn person's name. Was it Millie? I don't remember her name. But at some point after her rampage of killing like what 100, 200 wolf guards, she all of a sudden kills this one girl. Pa pa pa, and she's pregnant. Oh no! Now I feel, and Ellie's like, oh no, maybe it's wrong of me to kill her, right? I mean, she could have had that at any point in time because unlike the wolf soldiers that were actually had nothing to do, like those NPC wolf soldiers that she killed who were actually innocent, who had nothing to do with the death of Joel, she killed someone who was a part of Joel's death and actively killed him, basically helped to kill him. Then she feels innocent. Where's the character development? Where was her character development before? Why was it only then? Why? It doesn't make sense. She killed like 200 different people. Then on top of that, she doesn't even kill Abby at the end, which is like this catharsis that the readers were and the video game players were waiting for, right? It's like in school days. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna referring to school days. If you ever watch it, read it, watch it, whatever. I'm just gonna, it's like the school days ending was a very strong catharsis, right? You didn't get this in that. Instead, after Abby, I don't know, after seeing your friend Jesse die, biting your own fingers off, getting Ellie's fingers get bitten off, I believe by herself, right? And then you don't kill Abby? You joking with me? I mean, how do you justify that? You can't. Even with Abby, it's like, oh, they're trying to make her sympathetic because Joel killed one of her surgeon fathers. It's like, well, yeah, but she did all this terrible crap to Joel and to Ellie and to her whole gang. It's like, okay, well, that still doesn't justify it. It doesn't make people sympathetic to Abby if that's what you're trying to make, because obviously it didn't work if that's what you're trying to do. But besides that, this story doesn't deserve to be called a dumpster fire because a dumpster fire is too nice of it, right? A dumpster fire. I'm gonna say it for the man of culture, like a cultural. It's like a cultural thing, all right. a dumpster fire would be something like Domese Nakanojo or what's that, Irumanga Sensei, right? It's like a fire and it's in a dumpster. But we, as the dumpster moths, love the fire. We like to get burned by it. We're a little masochistic, you know what I mean? And so it's like we like to get burned, and then we'll burn inside of the fire, just like moths burning in campfires. If you've ever been outside on a big bonfire, you can see at night, you can see moths whizzing around, and they'll just go right into the fire and burn themselves up. That's kind of what we are, right? Us humans, okay, us cultural elites, let's just say. Okay, I put it with emphasis. We like to see the fire and we like to be burned and feel that pain. Last of Us 2 is not that. It's not a dumpster fire. It's a fucking garbage can full of freaking acid, and it's just acid spewing out. We don't want that. Us moths aren't into acid, but we still get burned either way. We still feel the pain either way, right? With the best not Konojo and the manga sense, we like to see that dumpster fire that's of course, gonna burn us in the end, but we like to see it because it's shining there. It's just culture, right? This is not nothing. This is just some acid from spewing out of the garbage can, poisoning you and just hitting you with pain. And we didn't even want it in the first place. We didn't ask for it, nor did we want to gravitate towards it. We were tricked. And this is what The Last of Us Part 2 was. It's honestly, just to make sure I was recording, holy shit. But Last of Us, sorry, I thought I wasn't recording, but The Last of Us 2, Part 2, right? I think the mechanics of the game, the beauty of the art is amazing. I'm not gonna lie, right? I gotta give it the positives that it deserves. You gotta be objective. The art was amazing. If you see some of the scenery, it's beautiful. The mechanics and the gameplay itself, beautiful, great, amazing. The soundtrack, top notch. All right, as should be from a AAA game. But of course, we're not there for just those things, because if we didn't, right, if we care much about the plot, right, about something, care about gameplay, mechanics, atmosphere, the beauty of the game, right? You can play something like Resident Evil 7, or some other game like maybe Colossus, Shadow of the Colossus, or something like that, right? That you look at the beauty of all the stuff, not as much of the story, right? The story is still integral, but you look more at the beauty, especially Resident Evil games, right? You're there for the experience of that certain horror of it, right? You're not really there as much for the story. You're there more for the horror. This game, you're not here more for the mechanics, the gameplay. You're here more for the story. That was what was so big about Last of Us when it first came out, what, 7 years ago, 2012, 2013? I don't really remember. But that was why that was such a big deal, because the story was just this amazing story. And then you come to Last of Us 2. Yeah, you could say all this other stuff is good, but the story is what everyone's buying the game for. They're paying $60 for the story, yet they didn't. Yet we don't get that. We don't get that at all. We're let down. It's a disappointment. It's honestly just a disappointment. I can't say what I can't say enough, right? If this was a game that you were buying for the artistic quality of it, right? I mean, a story is also art in of itself, but just the pure artistic of like the drawings and the music and the gameplay feel, stuff like that, right? Yeah, this game will be, really great. But most people didn't come to just for the mechanics. They didn't buy the game for just pure mechanics. They bought the game mostly for that damn nice story. And what we get we get an acid-filled dumpster, not a trash, not a heaping, flaming dumpster, right? A flame dumpster, we would want that. We want to get burned and we want to feel it, right? We'd like it, right? The masochists inside of us. No, I mean we're masochists in general, humans, but we don't want to. We want at least something there to make us feel good about it when we're getting burned by the damn thing. No, acid doesn't give us that. It's just an acid just burning you, like us little trash mods. Like this is just what this game is. I don't know what else to say about this game. It's just, what in the hell's name? I don't know what went through them, but they just must have hired some sort of fan fiction artist or something. Fan fiction, I'm sorry, not fan fiction, fanfic writer or something. They just said, yeah, we're gonna make all this story. We're gonna make this edgy. Gotta make it. We gotta have this story with that nice knife's edge, if you know what I mean. We like edgy stuff, right? Look at where we got with this, right? And so this is what the story is. Honestly, disappointment. It's a disgrace. I have nothing else to say about this game. Thank you again. G out.